Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Hey Panda. We are back with Abzan Maverick, but thankfully with some new cards from Midnight Hunt Innistrad, which is pretty sweet. The first one is Outland Liberator, which is pretty sweet. This card is just like Qasali Primage. It is a 2-mana 2/2, but it's a little bit easier on mana cost, which is nice. So it's just 1 and a green instead of green and a white. It still has the sack it and destroy target artifact or enchantment, but then it also has Daybound. So if a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn, which means that it flips into a 3/3 that keeps the ability that you can still sack it to destroy target artifact or enchantment, but whenever it attacks, it destroys target artifact or enchantment defending player controls, which is pretty sweet, because this means that it gets around things like Maze of Ith. It means that it can destroy a big blocker, like maybe a construct token. It's just really powerful, and I think it's exactly what Maverick wants in terms of value. It wants a disruptive threat that also applies pressure, and this is exactly it. Being able to make sure you can get things out of the way is pretty huge, and I think that the ability for it to destroy something when it attacks, not when it deals damage, is huge against a deck like Lands that is most likely going to have a target out, whether it's Mox Diamond or Exploration or Valakut Exploration or Drop of Honey or Sylvan Library. A lot of different targets, which is kind of nice. So I think that this is a pretty perfect card to have in Maverick, especially as a Green Sun's target. There are some considerations. This is a human creature that against a Plague Engineer can't attack into it. Obviously, if you're playing this, you're probably not playing Qasali Primage, and your nobles would be dying to the plague, so you don't have Exalted. So other than equipment, you don't have a way to attack through a Plague Engineer like Qasali Primage does. But otherwise, I think it's just a strict upgrade, which is really nice. I was going to try to fit 2 in the deck just to get more reps with it and see how it performs, but I think seeing how it should be fine, which is pretty cool. It does start Punishing Fire, that's correct, but I do think it's probably a card that I'll be playing as a 3-drop, and hopefully have a target in play that if my opponent does try to remove it, that I do get some sort of value out of it. So I think that Liberator is really sweet. The other card is Curse of Silence, which is kind of Deafening Silence 4 to 6. This card is 1 white mana, enchant player. As it comes into the battlefield, you can choose a card name, and then spells with the chosen name that they try to cast cost 2 more to cast. And then whenever they do cast the chosen named card, you can sack it and draw a card, which is pretty sweet. So I really like this against namesake decks like Doomsday, Show and Tell. I think it's also pretty good in some of the combo mirrors or combo matchups, especially because it is just turn 1 interaction, which is really nice. And it does replace itself when you really need to, which is pretty cool. I do like that it does tax as well. So against a deck like Doomsday or a deck like Show and Tell, you really just want to control the early game and be pretty aggressive, so that once they do cast 1 Show and Tell, hopefully it doesn't matter. But it is kind of one of those cards that is just making some of those more tricky matchups, the 70-80% matchups, a little bit better. So it might be worth even not caring about it and using those 3 slots for something else, but I think for now it'll be pretty cool to try it out at least, because I can't really say anything until that happens. Otherwise, this is a pretty standard list. 3 plagues for the fair matchups. I did drop an endurance with 2 in the board already, or 2 in the deck already, to make room for some of these curses. It is a pretty combo heavy sideboard, but I mean that's exactly what Maverick has a pretty tough time against. So I'm pretty happy to just have a little bit of time for some fair matchups in like endurance and plagues, and then pretty much the rest is for combos. So pretty keen to see how this goes. Yeah, I think you definitely need to know what you're going to be playing against to know if Curse is going to be good enough. But yeah, hopefully online, we've definitely run into a lot of combo recently, so hopefully it is okay. Legacy, League, Maverick, Playpoints, Streaming, nice. Very cool. Very, very cool. Might just try to make chat bigger. Nice. Alright. We are in on the play against Ms. Destroy. And this hand isn't too bad. I can either play Noble or hold up Sword. My opponent was last on Reanimator, which is pretty interesting. And I think just because of that, I might lead on Windswept Pass and then hold up Sword. Turn 2 Thalia is still pretty nice. There's also a consideration for if my opponent is on Reanimator, turn 1 Noble, which means we can turn 2 Thalia into Wasteland, especially if they go land pass and try to entomb, end step, then untap and reanimate. Obviously, if we can then play Wasteland and they try to get a Badlands, we can Wasteland that and keep them off the ability to reanimate. So I think I'm actually going to go for turn 1 Hierarch. But holding up Sword definitely has its merits. If I'm going turn 1 Hierarch as well, I might as well keep the fetch land for maybe a Dryad Arbor. Opponent thinking about their hand. They mulligan to 6. Okay. Definitely an interesting one. I think I'm more likely just to try to play out my hand rather than hold up Sword. Especially if they do something like Faithless Looting, then I'm pretty happy with that. Unmask. Alright. Hey Vic, thank you. Always a tough one. We actually played against Reanimator in game 1 last game, which is pretty interesting. Grief's pretty sweet. I wonder if this is a matchup where I actually want the Curse of Silence or not. I don't think so. I think Deafening Silence is more than fine. It's a little bit hard to narrow in what I actually want to name. Unfortunately, I think that's just game, especially once they can start attacking with the Grizzlebrand. My only real out there was something like Caracas, and then maybe try to get through, but after they've sculpted a hand, it's a little bit tough. Yeah, they have a lot of different varied names. I definitely like the Deafening Silences. I do like the Endurance. Ramanap can most likely come out. I actually like Liberator as well, because it means we can attack into like an Animate Dead. That's pretty sweet. I like the Mums. Libraries are a little bit slow. Force is always interesting, even if I can snag a an Animate Dead. I think this is it. I don't mind these other things. And Library isn't too bad if our opponent's brought in some amount of interaction and is a little bit slower. But yeah, Curse of Silence is tough when they have like Reanimate, Animate Dead, Exhume. The flip is if nobody casts spells, correct. And then it flips back if they cast 2 or more. Just a little bit too fair. I'm gonna mulligan this. Want to have some sort of interaction with the graveyard. We do have it in endurance, and we also have a sword, which isn't too bad. So I might keep this and bottom the cradle. And then just hold up the sword. Deafening Silence would have been sweet. Definitely a card I want to have against Reanimator. Just stops those really, really quick hands. Well, it looks like they're going all in, which is nice. I think I just pitched the Grist here. And then I can follow up with Noble Hierarch next turn, fetch land, holding up sword. Yeah. Pretty tough for my opponent there. I mean, they've used 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, and then we're able to trade the Grizzlebrand as a fourth as well as a replacement for Reanimate with Endurance, and really just shows the power of Endurance, even against a deck like Reanimator, which I guess I shouldn't say even against a deck like Reanimator because it's very good against Reanimator, but I think I'm happy just sending back the same 60. We don't have anything like Surgical or Leyline in this build, so I'm pretty happy just to rely on the Endurances, the Deafening Silences if we get a turn. Just gonna take some notes while we play this out. Hey, Red the Reckless. A huge thank you for your sub. Too kind. Too kind. I can't see it, but I thank you. I hope you're well. Hope you have a nice weekend ahead. Planned. I know the Legacy Pit Legacy event is on, which is pretty cool, so that should be streaming pretty much all weekend. I'm not sure if it's a 2-day or a 1-day event. I think it's just a 1-day event that's quite long, but pretty cool to see. This is a sweet hand. It does just rely on the Endurance, but if we can get Deafening Silence into play, then Thalia, I'd be pretty happy. So, pretty happy to keep this. Again, just like one Unmask or one Thoughtseize can really pull us aside, but I think we're going to be okay. The nice thing about Endurance as well, against decks like Reanimator and Doomsday, is that Deafening Silence does not stop it, which is really cool. Opponent went to 5. Alright, let's go for a Savannah here. Deafening Silence really nice here because it means if my opponent has like Entomb into Exhume, they can't also cast Hand Disruption unless they have Grief on their turn. I guess even if they have Grief, we can just use Endurance and shuffle the Grizzlebrain back, which is pretty nice. Animate dead. Nice. I mean, Endurance here is really strong. Drawing the Swords is pretty awesome as well. Thalia with Deafening Silence is quite tough for them. And then we get to lead onto a Knight, which leads open Caracas, Wasteland. Happy to attack first. Guess there's some merit to just casting the knight in my main phase 1. In case they have something like Fatal Push, it turns off the Cradle, which is actually pretty bad for us. If they wanted to like save 2 life. Definitely not over. Yeah, I mean they're entombing, so... Luckily the knight in play is pretty nice, but... Archon. Alright. Alright. I guess here we just drop the Thalia. And discard the Silence. Okay. Yeah. Pretty tough for them. Not even showing the Caracas, I think. Pretty fortunate. With the endurances there. Nice. I think Maverick has the tools to beat Reanimator quite effectively, but they really need those fast starts. I think if you can get a creature into play on turn 1, at most turn 2, then it's really good for Reanimator, but from turn 3 onwards, it's just a little bit too slow. Yeah, the 5 hands have to be like the Entomb, Exhume, Dark Ritual kind of hands, or like Entomb, Reanimate. Which I guess they could go to... I guess a really good 4 gets there, because like Land, Ritual, Entomb, Reanimate spell can definitely help, but the hands they really want are the ones with hand disruption as well, so either Grief or Unmask into go off, because the endurance there was just huge and a really big issue for my opponent. But always nice to start off with a win. Alright. Yeah, very true, Panda. 100%. Alright, on the play. And the hand's interesting. Turn 1 turn 2 library isn't too bad. We also have 2 hate bears that could be relevant, so pretty happy to keep this. Opponent went to 6. Tundra. Swords into Prismatic Ending here would be pretty tough. Because I really want this library to survive. Just so I can at least gain 3 more cards. That would be pretty awesome. Yikes. This is actually a tough one, because I kind of want to take my opponent off the Tundra, but I think the land's just too good for us. But yeah, Sword into Ending is always going to be a tough one for us against a blue-white deck. find a fetch. The Prismatic makes me think this is just going to be a basic heavy deck. Oof, that's rough. I can't really not play Indeterminus here. Just have to let this be. If I drew a land, I could do something like Wasteland the Tundra and then make them fetch. But I guess then they can just untap and then get a basic anyway, so... Yeah, really interesting. It's going to be there for the whole game, I guess, now. Okay, no swords on their turn's pretty nice for us. But I obviously really want to find a land here. Interestingly enough, Thalia, the library, if it survived, may have only found one land at best. Hey Ben. Pretty good. Good up against Black-Red Reanimator in game 1, and now in game 1... Oh, in match 1, and now in game 1 against a... Oof. I still think I need to just hold this land for me. I'm also most likely not blocking the mentor because next turn if they just have like open brainstorm I can't really block effectively, so I might as well attack here. Oh, I do want to endurance here. Please don't 5. Please don't. There we go. Nice. Pretty happy to do this if it keeps the mum alive. I mean, if we don't do this, we're probably not being able to. We're not being able to get the cast like the all 3 nights anyway. So this is a fine trade. Waiting on the last 2 Savannas to show up in the mail for Green-White Depths. Very cool. That's awesome to hear. It's a sweet deck. Has a lot of play against a lot of decks, which is nice. Yikes. Hey, Thunderous Silence. These are the bows. I always forget the name of them. Let me have a quick look. They're really good, especially for traveling. These are the Bose Quiet Comfort 35-2 wireless headphones. I'll put that in chat for you. I'm just gonna, if they most likely have a counterspell here, fetching here to pay for the Thalia. Yeah, we just unfortunately lose to the mentor. Tough. I do like the plagues here. I do like the chokes. I do like the Teeg. I don't mind the endurance. I'm pretty happy to drop down on Cradle. Some amount of mana producers. The Oof. Probably the Ramanap, let's be honest. And I don't mind dropping down on Knights either. Force is definitely interesting because of things like back to basics, but I think that I'm pretty happy just allowing back to basics to happen. Really awkward hand. A green source in Dried Arbor, which takes a turn to get online. Can't green suns for it. Pretty happy to mull. Ugh. One lander with no green. This is a tough one. Oof. Okay. Guess we keep the one lander. This is going to be a quick game, unfortunately. Savannah, Mum. Opponent also has multiple answers to Mum in like Swords and also Prismatic Ending. But if we could get Mum into Gaddock Teeg, I'd be pretty happy. Yeah. I don't think there's any real merit to playing that out. Nice. Game 3. Learn to Love. Rich. Most likely on Delver. I'm pretty happy to keep this. A little bit tough if they have a Wasteland for this Verdant, but I'm pretty happy just to go for Savannah here. I have to as well. And then I think next turn I just want to go... We draw a land here, so I actually might go Wasteland into Mum. Ponder's going to be okay. Iteration into the bin. Okay. The question here is, if they attack... I guess they can't, because they've just played a land, so... A little bit fortunate for us. They go to 6. Okay. So I have some options. I don't mind just passing and holding up Sword, and then untap and play Thalia, which plays around Days, which I think is pretty important here. If I can play around Days, I'm pretty happy to. We'll try to go after this Dragon Rage Channeler. Bolt. What are they bolting? Me. Okay. Interesting. Really trying to fill that graveyard. Alright, now I'm happy to go for basics and play Thalia. Even though it's not playing around Days, it's just a huge win if they don't. And if they do Days, it means they can't Murktide next turn, which is pretty huge as well. Wow. So now I'm pretty happy to probably attack with a Mum here as well. That's kind of free. And the one nice thing about Grist is that it's a creature on the stack, so it doesn't get taxed by Thalia. Boom. Which also means if they want to cast Murktide here, they have to tap out for it, which is great for us because it means the Grist is then uncounterable through Thalia, and we get to just trade one of these creatures for Murktide. I'm probably going to trade a Mum here. Just because Thalia is doing her role a little bit. I think trading a mum here is more than fine. And a 2-mana Ponder is more than acceptable on my end. We'll see what they do. Definitely having a good think about it. Chose to not shuffle. Interesting. Will they wasteland? It looks like they won't, which is huge. This means we can just cast this knight straight away. Maybe they're holding up Force of Will or Daze to play around. I can't really do much here anyway. Do I want to use Grist first? Doesn't matter. If they want to Force or Daze this, that's fine. Grist really nice, because now even if they have like a Murktide, we can trade the insect and the Grist for the Murktide. They're going to bolt that. Okay. They hit a land, sure. I think I'm pretty happy not to use the Green Suns yet. I think the best card I can get is most likely Scrib Ranger, as that's a great blocker for Murktide Regent. Hey Sibo, welcome. Hope you're well. Land? Oof, close. Maybe I should have actually Green Sunned for Mum. Sorry, for Bird's Paradise. I think that might be correct. But I guess we'll see now. I get really punished by Wasteland. So we take this and go to 9. Alright, we get... Huh. Well, hopefully this is okay. I can't get Scrib Ranger, unfortunately, because the Thalia taxes me. But getting the... Bird there is pretty nice. Interesting. If they find sorcery, no. Okay. Hey Toronto. You should be able to see it on screen over near my life total. They do get 3 in here. Blue. Yikes. Sadly, I think this is just game. And maybe it comes back to not going for bird earlier on and allowing that 6 to get through by Murktide. Oh, no flip. I guess Bolt still does it. Sadly dead. Even if I attack with everything, they have the creatures to block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tough. This is going to be an interesting one. I do like the extra endurance and chokes. We can take out the Oof, the Liberator, 1 library. I don't mind the Plagues, even just 2 over Beast and a Knight, perhaps. Hey Toronto. The black is only for Grist and Cyborg Plague Engineer. How necessary is the black? Yes, correct. So only for Plague Engineer and Grist, but I think the biggest advantage of having the 3rd color is for Prismatic Ending, which is pretty nice. I've definitely seen people playing around with red as well, because then you get blast effects in the board, which is really, really impressive. But I think it's good enough, because I think Plague just really make some of those like 50-50 matchups like D&T a little bit better, which is nice. See how this goes. Sadly, just one of those awkward hands again where the mana just doesn't really line up. Okay, this is better. Probably happy to keep this in bottom. Knight. We could lead on land into Noble, and then if we draw a fetch land, Knight becomes a 4/4. Could also go like Forest into Green Suns for Dried Arbor if we drop the Noble. Abrupt Decay. Look at that, chat. Too kind. I like the Grist because it is removal. It might just be the Knight. So I really want to keep my mana because Wasteland and Bolts just really get me. And at least Knight I can find through Green Suns if I really need it. No shuffle. I might just want to try to jam Grist here. Force is okay. Sure. I'd love to keep my opponent off double spelling. So I think the wasteland there is fine, but they have it. A braid. Rough. Endurance. Guess we just pass with endurance up. Maybe I should actually endurance... Yeah, I should have endurance probably in my turn when they're tapped out. Just to turn off Murktide. Means I can't like brainstorm into a removal spell. I'd rather do it now than like try to get him with Dragon Waste Channel and then just cast something in upkeep. That would really suck. Hey Shirley. Is Shirley indecisive? First stream you'll be able to catch live? Very cool. All the best with your homework. That's fine. Oof. That actually makes me want to go for Birds of Paradise here. Get me some black sauce. Another wasteland. Oof. And Unholy Heat. Rough. Interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of scared of another Unholy Heat, so if I don't attack there and they Unholy Heat the Endurance, I feel like I just got... got. But maybe next turn. Rough. Definitely got beaten pretty hard there. Pretty hard to play with no removal, but sometimes those just happen. I do think the matchup is a lot closer than that, but some of those mulligans definitely didn't help. Murktide really strong. But yeah, their mana plan there was really good just to go after my mana. And definitely a big reason why I kept the 3 lands over the night, but... Yeah, Kali's definitely a really good player. But, just one of those kind of getting delvered games. Hey, Rich. Very cool to see you. Yeah, GG. Some pretty cool interaction in Game 1. That was pretty fun. I had my eyes on Scrib Ranger and wanted to wait for it to pay for Thalia's tax and Green Suns for it, because it's a really good blocker for Murktide. But I probably should have gone for Birds of Paradise a turn earlier, which would have saved me 6 life. But definitely a close one. Grist was pretty cool in Game 1 as well. Obviously trading a Mum isn't the greatest, but if I can get rid of a Murktide, then I'm pretty happy. Yeah, I think even there I was a little bit aggressive in Game 2 with attacking with Endurance. I probably should have kept it back, but I was a little bit worried about not attacking with Endurance and then it just getting like Unholy Heated and just like missing out on that 3. Black Reanimator, blue-white, blue-red. Nice, yeah, very cool. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth looking at the red splash again. If I do want to keep playing 3 colors in Maverick, especially for prismatic ending. The blast effects in the board are quite nice, especially against Delver. But you just gotta make sure they line up well. Because you don't want to use like your early swords on like Delvers and Murktides and then just have your blasts for DRC, which obviously doesn't line up well. Yeah, DRC even just in play is really strong. Really tough one. But I think like... Why 4 Mum? I really like Mum against the blue-red decks right now. And I'm not really seeing too much Plague Engineer, so there's not too many ways my opponent can get rid of them easily. So I feel like the 4 Mum are nice because it's another actual 1-drop with 1 power for Ragavan. And if my opponent wants to attack into one, I'm pretty happy to trade if I don't have removal in hand. But yeah, I think as well, just like a lot of sort of bolts and unholy hits in the format that if Mum survives, it can be really hard to get rid of a creature that I control, which is really nice. So I do like having the extra turn 1 creature that does have 1 power, which is nice. And then also in some of the matchups like Green White Depths or Maverick, the extra protection can definitely help. But I think if we see an uptick in any sort of neg effects, I could see Mum potentially going back down, but she's really nice. She's also an on-green creature, so having her as a full playset means I get to see her a lot more often, especially in my opening hands, which is cool. But it's also tough because Maverick's definitely a deck where you also have turn 1 acceleration, so turn 1 Mum doesn't come up too much. Maybe against a deck like Death and Taxes, I might prioritize Mum over like Noble Hierarch, but it's always pretty tough because usually with a turn 1 Hierarch you can then double spell turn 2, which is exactly what Maverick wants to do, which is usually something like Mum into Thalia or Mum into some other creature. Sword or Wasteland, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I play the 4 Mum and then drop the extra Thalia, just because I feel like Collector Oof is kind of the extra Thalia, just via Green Suns, and multiple Thalias can be really, really tough in some of the matchups where you don't want to see them, like Death and Taxes or things. HC Fox, you were correct. We do get Yo Mama jokes a lot more often with 4 Mums, so... Why? Because they're for Mum. They're not for you. Only a few trophies so far. I guess it's only been a few days, but very cool to see True Futurism with 3. I wonder what they were playing. Arkan, nice. Coke, very cool. Tony Scaponi. I just like saying his name. Tony Scaponi, for those unaware, is a big mono-red Storm player, or Ruby Storm. Monkeys Can't Cry. I know that name. Learn to Love, there's Rich. Congrats on your trophy. Very cool. Shark Custom Mage. I believe this was with Reanimator. Filesh, very cool. Utopia. Alright. Here we go. On the play, which is nice. Ah, another one of those hands. Ugh. Just the Wasteland Forest really hurting. Pretty happy to mulligan this. Okay, pretty happy to keep this in bottom of the cradle. And we can actually play this like a D&T game, which I love doing. Like turn 1 Plains into Mum, turn 2 Wasteland into Thalia, and then show the Night Savannah. Sharkcaster is Tagoro's, correct. Hey Hizaria. I'm not too sure. Dermo Taxi. It's a good question. Please don't turn one me. Oh, island. Island Ponder. Okay. The new islands as well. These cards look pretty cool. I do like the plains, but it does look like a swamp. I'm gonna quickly see what my opponent did. Chose to shuffle. Okay, that's pretty good for us. I don't want to attack here in case they have like land into bolt. Interesting. Island Ponder Shuffle. Interesting. I definitely want the chokes. I reckon they're on show and tell, so I'm actually going to bring in a bunch of stuff. Take out the endings, take out the shows. Oof, we don't need. Ooze, we don't need. Ramanap, we don't need. Grist is actually okay. It can trade with some stuff. I'm going to take out one mum. I do like this hand. Especially seeing we have Knight for a big creature off Show and Tell and Force of Vigor for Omniscience. That's if they're on Show and Tell. But I'd rather try to just play around Show and Tell as much as possible. Mum. Okay, let's go for Savannah. Into Noble. They also saw turn 1 Mum, turn 2 Thalia off Plains Wasteland, so they probably didn't expect Windswept Heath into Noble. Hey, Lackey. A huge thank you for the raid. How did you end up in your stream? It's really good to catch you this morning. Sure. Maybe they're blue-white Omni. One better than 50-50? Nice. That's what I want to hear. Ton Volk? Oof, okay. Well, we definitely did not side correctly. Caldra. Ugh. Forest. I think the play is just Sylvan Library. Days? Woof. Yeah, we definitely sided wrong. There's the swords, there's the prismatic endings. I actually don't think we have an out to Caldra. I guess we can get like Mum and Knight into play in Pro. I don't even want to show the choke at this point. Maybe there's a world where protection gets there. First strike, haste, indestructible trample. Brainstorm. Fetch for a white source sword. Just gonna pass back. Oh, it says trample as well. Okay. At least they showed Caracas. Block. Pro black. I'm not going to play the Thalia. I'm just going to turn a land into Horizon Canopy and draw a card. I don't think there's any merit to using it right now, because I do want to have the Knight to block the card drop. How's new set looking so far? Haven't used it yet. Played against Reanimator. Played against Blue-White Control. Played. Played against Blue-Red Delver, and now playing against this deck. Alright. We haven't faced any new cards either, that's correct. Okay, second Stoneforge isn't too bad because we do have the Force for it. And we will get to get Scribrange down, hopefully, which gives us double Mum activations, which is pretty cool. Oh, we drew this Crib. Interesting. Well then, maybe I can actually win this game. Even though we sided out the 4 swords and the prismatic endings and the collector oof, we can go 1, 2, Scrib, untap, replay, choke. Untap, return. Play this. Choke. Oof. Okay. Okay. Oh, they have tear? Oh my gosh. Did not expect tear, but that's fair enough. You got me. I think we have a cool play here as well with Dryad Arbor. So we get to block. And then before damage, sack this. Get Dried get a fetch land. I actually don't need to do anything. I was going to fetch Dried Arbor and then use Scrib Ranger to untap Knight, return Dried Arbor, and then pitch Dried Arbor to the Force of Vigor. But with protection here, I actually don't need to do anything. Pro black. Wow, they're just going to concede? That's crazy. That's insane. Huh. Did not expect that. Jeskai Blade. I think they did tilt off the planet, unfortunately. Alright, we can at least finish this 3-2 and be okay. Maybe even just run back another league as well. Really start getting some better data. Data or data? How do you spell it, chat? Data or data? Data or data? Oof, HC Fox. Tata? I say it is data? Data. Okay. Up against Takumi. I am going to keep this. It's a one land, but we have Green Suns for Dried Arbor. We've been a little bit rough with the life so far, but... pretty good. Cool. HC Fox, interesting. Pretty happy just to pass and see if we can maybe swords this Ragavan. Hey Moses, welcome. I don't think we have coming back from that. Chokes, endurance. I don't mind the plagues. Beast, oof, Outlander. Maybe one less plague. Libraries. Cool. Keep bad hands, get bad outcomes. Did look like just blue-red as well. I think the mana's fine, but some of these have definitely been some pretty awkward hands of like forest wasteland or like one land. But I think 23 is fine, and I think like 5 jewels, 3 basics is more than enough. 7 fetches. I'm not trying to do anything too special with my mana base either. There's no like blast zones, Mazovits. Could potentially try like a Once Upon a Time build, but it's just hard to find room for it without actually taking out like the core of the deck. Like it could be like maybe minus a fetch land, minus a noble, minus a knight, and add in 3 Once Upon a Times. There have been a few hands where we've just had like heaps of 3-drops, and it hasn't been a turn 1 acceleration hand. So I don't mind going down on the extra knight and having once as like an extra copy of it. Tough one. Alright. Another kind of awkward hand of just like no white. Like can't turn 1 Mum. We could Green Suns. Pretty happy to mulligan this and just try to find like a hand with like this is actually great. Keep this. I'm gonna bottom the knight. It's currently a 3/3 with a fetch land, but I kind of want to go like noble into Mum into Green Suns. Bog's pretty good. It's just a bit slow, unfortunately, for Maverick. Some decks do play a crop rotation package. Some decks do play, or some versions do play like a Elvish Reclaimer, so you could get it turn 2. But usually it's like a turn 4 graveyard interaction spell, so usually just having like an endurance in the deck is a little bit better than having the awkwardness of the mana of something like. Well, sure. I'm actually going to go with basic into Mum first to play around days. And then Green Suns for Dryad here. Just to really start building up my mana. And if they want to daze this, then we have the choke that's coming down as well, so... I guess something like Blazing Volley would be pretty tough. Green Fun Zenith. Nice. But yeah, I think you could definitely run Bog, especially if you know your local metagame and know that there's going to be a lot of those sort of decks around. Alright. I'm going to fetch first here. I didn't actually need to fetch. I was thinking about them responding to the fetch with days, but obviously that isn't a need here because they don't have Wasteland. Pretty happy just to go for Bayou. They're going to force it, pitching Explosive Iteration, sure. Wasteland's pretty good. I probably just want to win Green Suns here for Birds of Paradise, so the next turn I can definitely Endurance. Also means I have black mana for something like Plague Engineer. I don't think holding up Endurance is like a winning line with the Green Suns just to like take them off their graveyard. Saga, interesting. No blocks. Savannah. Wow, Murktide. Rough. Saga into Ragavan into Murktide same turn. Yikes. No great blocks. Do you want to take them off this Saga? Still in a really awkward spot. Have to trade the Murktide here for the, or the bird for the Murktide, or bird, just chump. But yeah, again, just no removal. Maybe something like Part 2 Exile's needed in the board. Run Afoul's nice, but again, it can give my opponent the choice, especially if they have something like Delver or Dragon Rage Channel in play. Yikes. Maybe I do want an extra piece of removal in the board. Could also see something like this. I sadly don't think we have enough cards for Solitude, but I think that this might be fine. The extra paths definitely help. I mean, we hardly ever saw the removal, which, I mean, we're playing Maverick. We don't have a way to actually find these, but you'd think against, like, a lot of the decks that we play against and the amount of turns we get that we would see some amount of removal. But I think it's best just to run this back.